One of the problems that we run into, especially in the compressor, where there is oil, is getting the moisture out of the oil. The oil can actually lay over the moisture in it and seal it. So it's best if you can have that compressor warm in order to be able to get that moisture released from it. Now, there's some of the oils out there, one in particular is polyester. Polyester, you could vacuum on it all day long and you're not going to get the moisture out of it. The only way to get the moisture out of the polyester oil is through filtration. And be quite honest with you, that's one of the cases of an ounce of prevention. Y'all have heard that before? Okay. That's the truth right there. If you keep that moisture out of the oil to start off with, you won't have the problem. That's the reason that oil comes in metal cans instead of plastic cans, is because it's so hygroscopic, as they call it. It means it loves moisture. Okay. The vacuum pumps, I can't say it enough. You've got to keep the oil clean. That's all it is to it. Well, let's talk about how do we go about doing a vacuum. Well, there's a couple of ways. A deep vacuum will help get the moisture out. Now, this is almost a preference. You know, there's more than one way to do something in this world. This is almost a preference. One is to run a deep vacuum, continuous deep vacuum. Okay? I like to do what's called a triple evacuation. A triple evacuation is done by pulling the vacuum down on the system, make sure that all the valves are open, make sure you're pulling the whole system. By the way, you can't isolate certain parts if you have the refrigerant in the receiver, but you got to make sure that you got your valves closed off and the parts isolated completely. If you don't, you're going to pull the refrigerant right out. That's a no-no. But make sure all your caps are on your service valves. Okay. Pull that deep vacuum down to around 1,500 microns. This is a triple evacuation I'm talking about. Break the vacuum with nitrogen. What I mean by that, I mean put a little nitrogen back into it. Don't open it up and let the air come back in. You've defeated the purpose. But break the vacuum with some nitrogen. Bring it up to 5 or 10 pounds of pressure. Let it sit for 5 minutes. Let the nitrogen back out. Pull a vacuum on it again. Bring it down to about 1,500 microns once again. Once it gets settled down, go back, put the nitrogen back in there. Let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes again. And then pull the final vacuum down to 500 microns. At that point, the next thing you would do would be put the refrigerant back into it. Okay, I want to show you a little bit about how the vacuum does respond. I just want to make sure that you don't. I'll be the first to tell you, using a vacuum for leak checking is a wrong thing to do. So when you see what I'm going to show you up here, don't take that as I'm saying using it for leak checking. But if I were to watch my vacuum, and I'm going to say that this is time on our chart, and this is going to be the level of vacuum. Okay, we're going to say that this is I know good and well we probably wouldn't reach it, but 250 microns. Oh, by the way, if that vacuum pump's not capable of reaching down below 500 microns, you never ever get 500 microns on the system, correct? See what I mean by the importance of a good vacuum pump? Okay. This is going to be 250, this is going to be atmospheric up here. Okay, let's say that you have been pulling on this system for a while, and now it's time to check it out to see what it does. If you look at the vacuum, and let's say that you are at 500 microns here. Now you blank off the system, that means you'll isolate the system from the vacuum pump, and watch what the system does. Watch your microns. If you start seeing through time, that right there, there's no question about what we got. What we got?
Leak.
Got a leak somewhere. No doubt about it. Okay. What if it does this number. What's that tell me?
It's got moisture or something.
It's got moisture in it. What happened was it come up to the saturation point or boiling point of that temperature, the moisture in there, and it leveled off. Okay, that's an indication you need to pump it some more. Okay, what you want to see is something like that right there. You're going to get a rise. You're going to get a rise right there. That's just what's happening is the system is equalizing. If you could pull it on down a little bit lower, that rise would even out to about 500 microns. But I'll be the first to tell you, the seals have got to be good on the hoses. If these seals are not good, you're wasting your time. You can replace those seals on those hoses, by the way. The gauges, the seals and the handles, they got to be good. Your hoses, if you got cracked hoses, you're wasting your time pulling a vacuum. And the oil's got to be good in the pump itself. Okay. Any questions on the importance and how to go about vacuuming a system? Evacuation is what it's called. I can't overemphasize the importance of doing this right in the beginning. Purging a line set is still legal. I don't consider it to be good practice. And the reason being, refrigerants such as 410A and the oil, the polyester oil that goes along with it, they love moisture. And once it gets in there, it's practically impossible to get it out. So, good practice. That's all it is to it. Yes, it takes some time. But how long should a piece of equipment last? You know, I'm hearing things like 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 8 years. I always hear this, well, that's how long the warranty is, that's how long it ought to last, you know, which is some truth to that. But I'm here to tell you, I've got some equipment over at UGA that is older than me. And I'm not no young chicken no more. Okay? I was over there for over 30 years. And there were some systems that was in place when I went to work there, and they're still operating today. Now, I'm not talking about large systems. I'm talking about 2-ton, 5-ton systems. Now, their efficiency is not there, and through attrition, we have been replacing them. But we don't replace things just because they get old. Sometimes it's a challenge just to see how long you can make something last. I've got one system over there, the framework around it has completely rusted away. But the compressor and the coils are still A-OK. Eventually that is going to get replaced because the compressor is going to fall out of the frame. But, you know, but don't think that that happens by accident. It's got to be a good, clean system. And like I said before, the only thing that needs to be in that system is, y'all tell me, what needs to be inside the system? That's it. 2 things, and that's it. Okay, we're going to sum that one up today. Okay?